Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl as we continue our faction-focused look for the Empire of Man in Warhammer the Old World, and we're now on to the last part of the army list, which is those rare units. So let's see what the Empire has to offer. First up are the Flagellants. Average stats with low ballistic skill, initiative, attacks and leadership. Okay, and they're rare. Troop type is regular infantry, base size 25 by 25 and unit size of 5+. Now they come with hand weapons and flails. They get a champion and a standard bearer, but no musician. So, quite a few special rules. So they've got Furious Charge, which is +1 attack if they charge more than 3 inches. That's quite nice. They're immune to psychology, so they automatically pass fear, terror, panic tests, but they cannot flee as a charge reaction. They've got my dreaded rule of impetuous, so if they can declare a charge, they're going to roll the d6. If they roll a 1 to 3, they must charge. 4+, they can act as normal. They have hatred all enemies, which means they re-roll failed hits in the first round of combat. They're unbreakable, so that when they lose combat, they don't take a break test, and instead they give ground. And Fanatic Zeal, so Lectors and Priests of Sigmar can join this unit and gain the Unbreakable rule. They have a Feel No Pain, which is a 6+ ward save against non-magical attacks, and a 5+ ward save against non-magical attacks that have a strength 5 or higher. So, Flagellants. I'm not a fan of these guys at all. The good is they're unbreakable and they're immune to psychology and they gain an attack on the charge. The bad is a terrible leadership of 5. So you've got to put a character in a unit. They've got no armor, so they're completely reliant upon the 6+ ward save. Toughness 3, 1 wound. Very vulnerable to spells because the ward save is only against non-magical attacks. So you need a large number of models to give the unit some durability. They also have impetuous, which is a problem because you potentially lose control of movement, which is really important. And on top of that, they're 2 points per model more than an Empire Greatsword, which I would absolutely prefer. So for me, Flagellants are a rare choice. There are much better options to take in this points limited category, and these aren't the guys I would spend the points on. Okay, so next up is the Hellblaster Volley Gun. Stats-wise, good toughness, low initiative. Troop type is War Machine, base size 50 by 75. Crew on 25 by 25mm bases, and unit size is 1+. Equipment is hand weapons. Hellblaster Volley Gun, which is a range 24-inch, strength 5, AP -1. Has Armor Bane 2, Cumbersome, Hellblaster Move or Shoot, and no other options. In terms of the rules, skirmishers and then Hellblaster Volley Gun. So how do you use it? You roll 3 artillery dice before rolling to hit. The total equals the number of shots fired. If you roll 1 misfire, you get a -1 to hit. If you roll 2 misfires, you roll on the misfire table. If you roll 3 misfires, you're having a really bad day, but you fire all 30 shots at -1 to hit, and then the Hellblaster Volley Gun blows up and is destroyed. And then the rolls to hit use the crew ballistic skill. So, despite its short range of 24, which is low for a war machine, I like the Hellblaster Volley Gun. It's really good for dealing with large, heavy armoured infantry, cavalry, monstrous infantry, cavalry. You know, normally you're going to fire a good amount of shots at good strength and with some AP as well, potentially up to AP -3 with Armor Bane. And if you add an engineer to support this war machine, then you're using his ballistic skill as well and re-rolling the artillery dice, which is really nice. So overall, I prefer the Hellblaster to the Hellstorm. They both have utility, and I often opt for 2 war machines in the rare category for my Empire army list. So I like this. It's something that initially you look at and go, oh, that's a low range, but this can work really nice. Right, the Hellstorm Rocket Battery. Good toughness, low initiative, war machine, 50 by 75mm base, and a unit size of 1+. Equipment, hand weapons, and Hellstorm Rocket Battery. It's got minimum range of 12, maximum of 48. It's only strength 3, which is kind of a bit of a downside. AP -1. cumbersome, hellblaster, and move or shoot. Right, so how does it work? So you use 3-inch blast templates. You choose a target, no line of sight is required, and you place D3 blast templates over the enemy. So you can have up to 3-inch blast templates. You roll scatter and artillery for each template. Misfire means the rocket has failed to fire, and each misfire requires a separate roll on the misfire table, and then damage as normal by blast templates. So while the range in indirect fire and large template area coverage is nice, the low strength and lack of armor bane limits its potential targets. Add to this the way the templates worked, and the fact if you're unlucky you could be rolling on the misfire table multiple times means even an engineer support could struggle. So this is a very, very RNG weapon. The D3 blast templates, the scatter and artillery for each template, the misfire for each template. Absolute nightmare. So very RNG heavy, but if it pops off and you roll well, this thing could really inflict a lot of damage. So overall, at 5 points per model more than a Hellblaster, I would take the shorter range for better potential damage and more target flexibility because of the higher strength. But there sometimes can be a place for this weapon. It's just you're going to have to accept the RNG nature of it. Next up then, the absolutely famous Empire Steam Tank. So stats-wise, good ballistic skill, toughness, wounds, and leadership. It does have low initiative and attacks, though. Troop type, it's a heavy chariot, and it comes on a base of 60 by 100. Unit size is 1. Equipment-wise, it's armor 3+, and a hand weapon. It does have a steam cannon, which is a 24-inch range. Strength 8, AP -2. Armor Bane 2 with cannon fire, cumbersome, multiple wounds D3. So it fires like a cannon, but a misfire causes a wound instead of rolling on the misfired table. Steam Gun has the Flame template, strength 2 with no armor saves allowed. Options, the Engineer Commander may take a Hotchkiss long rifle, pigeon bombs, or a repeater pistol. So rules-wise, so it's immune to psychology, that's good. Impact hits D6 +1, so even if it charges, it's going to hurt. Large target, though, so it's neither getting full or partial cover, it's not going to happen. Stomp attacks, though, D3 +1. Those attacks are initiative 1, but they do hit automatically using the strength of the model. Unbreakable, so when it loses a round of combat, it doesn't take a break test, it just gives ground. Does cause terror, which means it also causes fear and all the benefits you get with that. Grinding Wheels means that stomp attacks are AP -2, but they cannot be used against behemoth targets. And low linear obstacles are treated as open terrain. Steam power, it cannot march. Instead, it makes a steam power roll, and you add to the movement. You roll 2d6 and discard the lowest result. Temperamental, if 1 is rolled for steam power or charge rolls, choose to either lose a wound or become immobile for the remainder of the turn. If both dice are 1s, the unit will lose a wound and become immobile for the remainder of the turn. So, I love steam tanks. They look cool, they're very Empire, and they absolutely suit my defensive gunline style of play, so they're pretty good units. Tough to take down. They're toughness 7 with 10 wounds. They have multiple ranged weapons as well, and can even do damage in combat with those impact hits and stomp attacks. Though this would be best used against a unit that's already engaged. I would most often look to give the commander a Hotchkiss long rifle. That just gives that extra range damage and the fact that he can snipe at particular models within a unit as well. The downside is you've got some RNG on the movement and the potential to take wounds, but becoming immobile is less of a problem given the ranged weapons. So, in most cases, 10 wounds gives it plenty of staying power. It is the most expensive unit in the army list. It is possible to take 2 in the rare category at 2,500 points, and that wouldn't be a terrible choice. However, normally I would prefer to take one steam tank and then some of the war machines on most occasions, but you could take two. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that is now completing the rare category. We have now covered every single unit in the Empire roster. And next up, we're going to start taking a look at the different magic items. We're going to take a look at some comparison against the infantry, missile infantry, and war machines, and then have some sample army lists, 2,500 points, which are based around fun rather than competitive meta, and finishing up with some missing units that you never know we might see in the future. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And if you want to continue seeing more content and more faction-focused videos, then please hit that subscribe button. It's free for you to do. It's a big deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. And thank you to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in as we start taking a look at the Empire's magic item list.